can you guys introduce yourselves? Tell me what you do in the band and tell me a fun fact about you.
I'll start. Um, I'm Cameron, Cam, whatever. I play the drums, and fun fact about me is I can do the splits.
All right. Me
Pretty
too.
cool.
Good job.
I guess I'll go next. I'm Dylan. I play the keyboard and sing. And fun fact about me would probably have to be that I can eat a lot of food. I don't know. That's just the first thing I thought of.
That's an important skill.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that.
Hi, my name's Sam. I'm the bass player for Silver Warehouse. And a fun fact about me is I used to downhill ski race.
Cal. I play guitar and sing. And fun fact is I grew up in Brazil.
So, how did you guys pick your respective instruments?
Well, I've been playing drums since like third grade, so I wasn't gonna switch off ever. But
Yeah. Well, Cam, you're also the best drummer out of the group, obviously, because of that. I've been playing bass all of high school, just because they need somebody in the jazz band, so it's kind of my main instrument.
I started playing piano in 7th grade just because my parents, it was around. I just picked it up for fun. And then, I mean, like, I could sort of sing. My grandpa could sing. So it was just like, it kind of worked out that way.
I started when I was 7. I decided to learn how to play the guitar, and then I went to music school.
Okay. So, I'm going to say something kind of philosophical. I like to think the instrument picks the person and the person doesn't pick the instrument.
Could be. Recently, I've been playing guitar, and I don't know. I don't think it chose me. We've put a lot of effort into that, but no.
I agree to a certain extent of what Jeanine said about the instrument picking the person, but for me, like, I used to play the clarinet, and then something kind of traumatized me, so I never wanted to play the clarinet again, and now I play the baritone saxophone, so, like, it kind of picked me in a way because I was like, oh, I want to play a giant instrument, but I think it comes both ways.
In my school, when I was in like elementary school, they made you take a test to see if you were musically competent, and then they handed you an instrument based on like your skill set and your abilities, I guess. So I was like handed the trumpet, and like it was not my choice, but that was what I was handed. So
For me, it was more like they needed somebody to play bass guitar, and I had a bass guitar at home, so I learned it by myself and played it for them, and I got really good at it and I really liked it. But then I started picking up guitar, and I kind of like picking that up more now than I do my bass guitar, oddly, but I still like both.
Okay. So we're gonna jump to the next question, which I love asking because I think it says a lot about a person. So what is your favorite album in your personal collection? And by personal collection, I mean you physically own it.
I want to say Landmark by Hippocampus. It's a smaller band from Minneapolis, but they're still relatively big. But yeah, I really like that one by them. They're my favorite band, and they like inspire us. But
I'm going through my Spotify.
Sorry.
I gotta think about this.
That's tough for me to say, but just because Cam would have taken the one if I had answered first. But like right now, my favorites. I mean, it's not really an album; it's a double LP, double EP, or whatever they call it. But like, From the Fires by Greta Van Fleet, just because like right now. But the physically own, now that I picked up a bunch of vinyl records, I'd probably say the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album or Queen's Jazz album.
The Sgt. Pepper album is my favorite.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
It's just a classic to me.
I also have John Denver's Greatest Hits.
Nice.
That's amazing. So.
For me, it's Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland.
That's a good one.
Yeah. He's my hero. So.
I don't really remember what the album is called, but I guess I could just go with the AM album from the Arctic Monkeys. I really like their style and Alex Turner's songwriting style.
I like to think that like the album someone says or picks, kind of people have emotional connections to these types of music, and actually physically owning a copy of a piece of music I think is something special in and of itself. So it's refreshing to see what everyone thinks or says their favorite album is, because I think it says a lot about a person.
Agreed.
Very like philosophical, but here we are.
Also you, Jeanine, though.
What?
That's also you, though. That's
I
like
know.
something you would say.
Something like Austin here right now, but he's definitely the type of person that just, if no one's in the room, he just brings up some random theory or philosophical question. That's just who he is.
So my next question for you is, can you guys describe your sound for me in 4 words, since there are 4 of you? So you'd each do 1 word.
Energetic, I would say.
I don't even know what we would.
Yeah, I would like
describe what
undecided
music
was the
is.
first word that came to my mind, just because like we have stuff that just is not that similar.
You know what? I'm gonna go with passionate. Like we put a lot of like passion, and we like care about what we're singing about. So yeah.
I'm gonna say live because we recorded it live.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I like to see how bands describe themselves, because I might not pick the same words that you do. As you mentioned, the songs that you guys have currently released don't sound the same at all, but you do have elements that, like, if I listen to them consecutively or not, I will know it's your band. So I think that's pretty interesting. Like, you're not defined by one genre. You're kind of pulling from so many different areas. And instead of maybe undecided, maybe varied would be a better word.
Right. That was, yeah. Because we have 3 different singers, so like that within itself, like that's variation. So, because all our styles are so different.
Yeah, I think everybody in our band has a different taste in music as well, and that brings a lot to the table.
Or like, for me, at least, like what we grew up on, like the kind of styles that we have been heavily influenced on has like impacted the way we play music, the way like the styles that we bring onto the table.
So we know right now a lot of music is very much streamlined through a streaming service or is online. But today people are really getting back into vinyls. But and there's obviously a different sound between vinyl and streaming services. So we wanted to know, like, what's your guys' opinion on the streaming service versus a physical vinyl album?
For me, if I have the opportunity to listen to something on vinyl, I'm gonna go with it every time, just because it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I want to say it's more authentic.
Yeah.
And it sounds more real in a way.
Something, I took a history of rock and roll class, and something my teacher said that kind of stuck with me was MP3 files kind of compress the amount of range that you can hear, but on vinyl you can get a bigger range from like low and high ends. So I think it has a richer sound.
And I'd say it's an experience. It's like you invite your friends over to your house, and all you do is sit on the couch and listen to music, not anything else, you know, because you get to touch and see the huge record. And nowadays with Spotify, you just use your phone.
Yeah, it's more than just like a digital experience where you can just look up anything you want. Like whereas to something that's physical and like what he was saying, it's like in your hands. Like you get to experience the art that went into it and the physical copy, taking it out of whatever kind of thing it's in, whether it be a CD or a record, and then like having that device to put it into, and like coming out of a different sound, or like a stereo, for example, or something like that.
I want to elaborate a bit on Sam's point. I don't know if any of you listen to Hot Mulligan, but I have their You'll Be Fine LP on vinyl. And listening to the vinyl compared to listening to the, I guess, streaming service portion of it, it was so different. Like, I heard things I didn't initially hear on the compressed file, which was insane. Like, the guitar part is completely different. It's pretty interesting to hear the differences in what the vinyl is versus sometimes what the compressed file is.
Well, I think it's crazy how you have this disc and it just does everything. And it's like, I like tactile things. I like to be able to touch it. So having that album in my hands and listening to it, just, it creates one big, like, I don't even know how to describe it, world in my head that it's like, well, now I can listen to it whenever I want and I don't have to pay for it because I already own it. But then that's not always possible, like when you're out and about, but you still, you really want to listen to this record, but you can't. And so then you have the streaming service. And then like Jeanine said, it's so different, but it's also cool that we're able to use both, because it used to be one or the other. And now we're coming to a world where we can use both and we can experience both.
So we're going to continue with something that we've noticed is happening more prominently in the industry, unfortunately. So a little backstory behind this question is it came about from our PR director, Grace, when she listened to Little Peep songs that were released like last year. And she said they sounded like these unfinished bedroom demos, and then Mac Miller released Circles. So our question is, what are your thoughts on releasing an artist's unreleased music after they've passed away? Should it be released or should it not?
Ooh. That's heavy.
I think personally, if I were to die tomorrow, all the stuff that like I had personally written should be like produced or done some way, or like the stuff that we did, we put the time into, like putting all our creative, ideas into one thing should definitely be put out for everyone to hear. That's just me. I don't know. I like hearing, like, especially when like Mac passed or when Juice rolled, like it like adds anticipation to what they have. It's just like makes it a little bit more special knowing that like something that they created might not happen ever again. So
yeah, I can get on board with that. I think when people see the issue in it, they see the issue in like it being used in the wrong way or in like bad faith. I think it's good when they use it in good faith and they produce the music how the artist would probably want to do it, and maybe donate the money to a good cause instead of profiting off of it.
Yeah, I'd definitely say, jumping on what Sam was saying, like, you don't want to profit off the dead, but you also, and you want to respect them. So like, if they make music, I would more often than not probably think it's respectful to share it with the world, unless they like specifically say like, yeah, I never want anyone to hear this.
But with that, what's your guys' writing process like? Like, does one person do one thing, or do you guys really collaborate on all the different parts?
That's kind of like a toss-up, because sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes we all get in a room and we just make something that we really like. Sometimes it's just like two members make something really solid and then they bring it to the rest, and then we kind of elaborate on it. And then sometimes it's just Cal writing, and then we just like, feed off of that. It goes a lot of different ways, and I think that's why I like it the most. There isn't like a solid one writer kind of thing.
We always, regardless of where we start the process, it always ends with everyone collaborating and talking through each individual part.
So what's the favorite part of the song you've written? What's your favorite part of that song?
Any song you've released?
Ooh, that's tough.
For me, it's not like it's well, I don't know how to start this, but it wasn't like the songwriting process, but like like helping write our first release song and like the reaction it got from everyone. Like that had been like a completely different experience for me and probably everyone in the band, but just like seeing how people reacted to something that we made that was so like in like so close to us, and like to get such a good reaction was something I thought that was super cool.
I think my favorite part from one of our songs would be the ending of on Spotify. It's Silver Warehouse by Silver Warehouse, but it's actually called Peace Signs. Fun fact.
Let everyone know.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Or
We
what?
messed up.
Okay.
Just
We
pure.
We didn't mess up. It was Austin.
Yeah. All right. And he's not here to defend himself, so
We can
yeah,
throw
he
him under
really
the bus
messed up.
now. So
But
it's his fault.
yeah, my favorite part is honestly the ending, because at the end you just hear the feedback from the guitar, and like it wasn't planned. Like when we went in the studio, we didn't plan on ending it like that, but like it's always cool. Like when you're recording something, you like add something that you didn't know you would like, and you end up like loving it. And I think it like just like perfectly. It's like the cherry on the top of the song.
For me, it's the bridge, cigarettes, because I wanted the bridge to be really kind of like psychedelic, weird, and I thought about playing a solo and just reversing it so it would sound kind of weird. And then we, I use an amp at Austin's house. It's like a cheap practice amp, and it sounded great. And then we went to the studio, and we used like the best equipment that the guy had, and it didn't sound the same. So we had to go back to Austin's house, grab the cheap amp, bring it to the studio, and then record my part. And I loved the final the result, because it sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I really have a favorite part in most of our musics. I just really like it when we're in the studio and we're listening to something that we're just adding completely new in the studio version. And then we're like, ooh, that's good. And then I just like hearing that every time when I listen to the songs, and then I'm like, that was the good part right there that we added.
Yeah, I love those spur of the moment decisions. I feel like they help elevate a song in a sense, just because it might not have been something that you thought of, but sometimes things just kind of fall into place in a way like that. And you guys earlier mentioned you're from the Midwest, so a little backstory. So I'm from Staten Island, New York, which is where our Karine and my school is located. And a fun fact about our school, the movie School of Rock was filmed there. And one of the things that always upsets me is, because I'm from Staten Island, we don't have a local music scene here, and it's pretty upsetting. Like, we don't get to go to all of these events and stuff, that like nothing's really flourishing here. So can you guys describe the scene for me, where you're from?
Oh,
I can do it. So we met in the University of North Dakota, which, if you haven't guessed, is not very populated, kind of nothing to do. So there isn't really a music scene in North Dakota, but two of the members, Dylan and Austin, are from Minneapolis. So most of our gigs have been in Minneapolis. And the scene in Minneapolis is really cool, because you have a lot of different genres coming together for like the same gig. Like we played a gig where we had like some indie artists, some punk artists, some like death metal. I don't know, but it was really cool, because like you just like see all these different crowds of people come together and they listen to every single artist. Like it doesn't matter um like who they came for, they were listening to everyone.
Yeah, I feel like Cam hit it
I mean,
well.
yeah, North Dakota is like sparse with music. There's not really any scene. Minneapolis is a huge scene for music. Like people from Wisconsin and North Dakota like funnel into Minneapolis to listen to music, I feel like.
I think we're the only band in North Dakota, or
We'd
from where we are. So
we'd like
Yeah.
to start a music scene like here if we could. That would be cool.
I feel
Right.
that. You guys mentioned you met in university. Do you mind telling me your majors?
I'm currently bio pre-med. Chemistry's not very fun, so planning on changing it this year. So
Okay.
won't lie. So it's like, well, it is what it is.
I'm going to University of North Dakota for commercial aviation.
Okay.
Oh,
Um
okay.
Me too. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's something I've never heard of. I love it.
Nemeda County.
Say that again.
Yeah.
County. Super exciting.
What
I love it.
Austin's engineering,
Austin's
right?
in mechanical engineering,
Okay.
but I think he's switching out of that too.
I am always curious as to what people's majors are. I was a math and history double major. I'm now going to grad school for business analytics.
Yeah, I'm arts administration with a double minor in dance and art.
Oh, cool.
I'm an artsy person. I am in marching band, and I march with the giant berry sax. I'm also a cheerleader, so I'll be doing our halftime routines in a cheer uniform instead of a marching band uniform.
Yeah, like our school is a theater performance school and a Division I sports school. And as I said earlier, there's no music scene, even though School of Rock was filmed on our campus, which is, again, super upsetting because I know it's inspired so many people, and then we're just kind of like, we have class in this building. It's cool, but
Right.
You ever had a class in there in the room?
So-
Rooms that
it's just the outside. So, like, when Jack Black's in the van pulling up to campus, that's
that's
our school.
yeah, okay.
Hmm.
Cam, what was that movie that they shot in your high school?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
You could see my locker. Pretty cool.
oh wow.
Okay, anyway, there's a question that was asked at our freshman orientation that we ask everybody. If you can be any item in the kitchen, what would you be and why?
Cool.
Oh boy.
Come on.
Wow.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay. Okay.
Oh wait, Cameron, you got something?
Yeah, I got something.
Go for it.
I think I would be a microwave because they're so like you can use them for so many different things. They're very versatile.
That's what I was thinking for mine.
Things
Like,
blow up in them all the time.
yeah, it's a hazard for people that don't know how to use them. But so are blenders, so I can't say that.
Wait, did we say utensil or
Item.
like?
Item. It used to be utensil.
Item.
We changed it to item because I'll explain later.
Okay. I would be a garbage disposal. Or, we'll say that, just because I'll eat anything.
All right, I like that. What about you, Cal?
So imagine being asked this when you don't know anybody and you're basically, this is your first introduction to everyone and their first opinion of you. So when I was asked this question, I told people I'd be a knife because I have a sharp wit. And every time I say it, it just gets worse.
I almost said that.
As a younger band, what advice do you have for people who are interested in starting a band or going into music?
Commit to it. If you really love it, just commit to it. I don't know. We haven't this is only like our second year kind of doing it, so that's all we got.
I think if you want to be in a band it's your first band, just do it and just make the music you love. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about making money. Just do it as a hobby that makes you happy, and then let it blow up if it blows up.
For me, the best advice I could give is even if you're like bad at an instrument, like still like play like if you can with a band. Like there like there's like a feeling you get when like you like lock up with like other like musicians, and like it just like you're making something. Like that's like my favorite feeling in the world. So like if you have the opportunity to do it, even if it's not going to be like that good, just do it.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Just listen to your bandmates, like, and what they like want to add. Don't exclude anybody. Always just like make sure everybody feels included. Because if you're like kind of in a band and you're just like submissive to whatever the other people want, you're not gonna have fun.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. So I'm going to ask a question for my own personal enjoyment. What music are you currently listening to? Please keep it to 2 to 3 artists because of time.
I'm listening to Parcels. It's like a funk band kind of from Australia. They're really good, and I recently found this artist. He's Richard Cheese, I think is his name. And he does jazz covers of like really heavy metal songs, like Down with the Sickness, like that kind of music. It is amazing.
Oh, my boss told me about him yesterday, and then Cal saw that I was listening to him, and then I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was with Cal.
Yeah, that's so funny. I'm listening to Duke Ellington and John Denver at the moment.
Okay.
I'm listening to Queen of the Stone Age and Alex Turner's solo work.
I'm listening to The Strokes and Tim Impala.
Mm.
Yeah, I love this question because it normally expands my own horizons of what I should be listening to. So it's always fun for me to see what other people listen to and see what I should try listening to. So on that note, what are your goals for 2020?
Merch.
Merch. We're releasing an EP soon, Etiquette EP, and I hope it does well. I mean, it can't really. That's out of our control, kind of, with how well it does, but hope it does well.
Also, do you know an artist called Bryce Vine?
Me?
Bryce Vine, yeah. We're hoping that he's gonna be playing at our college, like indoor football stadium, and we're hoping to open for him for that.
Oh,
Nice.
We have the slots open for him.
We do have the slot. It needs to happen.
Doesn't make it so we can't open for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Karine knows, we were planning a concert for the spring that unfortunately got canceled due to coronavirus, and
we did. We had a couple of.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what's happening in the music industry and how it's going to continue in this new kind of online world. I know a lot of people are doing like these Instagram concerts at home, and it's interesting. I'm not quite sure if we're there yet, but
at least they're trying.
they are.
We were
It'll
thinking.
get better.
Better than nothing.
But it's been great talking to you guys, and I'm so excited to listen to any new songs that you guys release.